Check it. You're tuned in to Say What Radio with your hosts, Justin, Taz, and the other guys. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go.
Say What Radio. I'm gonna just start with this one and just say the headline, see what you say. Baseball coach is suspended after he forced his players to spit in his face.
He loses damn job.
A Greek man was convicted of stealing electricity despite being dead. Yes, convicted him after he died.
So he didn't do it before he died.
Yes.
No, okay. What is that? Round it over.
It's me.
Say what? Say what one more goddamn time.
G4, G5.
G3, G5,
Yeah, all that. All right. It is Wednesday night, so you know what time it is. Say What Radio is coming at you guys live. Well,
You didn't say
it is Thursday.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm sorry.
She's also got her NPR voice again. Like, why is we not on NPR? You don't have to be so
I like how she was so quick. She was about to really correct ground. Like, no, it is. Wait. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah,
It
it is.
No. I was trying to go into it, us being late. I'm sorry about that.
Sorry.
We're not late. They late.
Okay.
I was the only one late, technically.
CP time.
I'm talking about the customers.
I have forgotten
Customers. The
what it's
listeners.
like with all y'all in one room now. Got your girl Justice here, hanging with the other guys, which is actually pretty much all of them at this point. Go ahead. I'm going to start it to the right this time.
McCoy is in the building once again.
Like a special appearance.
Right?
Dre D.
Dre T.
And Marco.
Didn't that sound lovely?
It did.
Yes, it did. All right. So we were off last week and a lot has happened. Mainly we have one topic tonight, but we're still going to give you the headlines. I want to hear it.
Headline music is lovely.
I want to hear it. Don't want to hear it.
I see you still haven't updated the music.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, we've updated a lot of other stuff.
It's still Dateline. It's like those Prada shoes.
Anyway.
Oh, shit. 10 shillings and a bag of wheat, sir.
Them shoes broke the Liberty Bell. Just hilarious.
They look like air grooves.
There's
Seeing this picture with me.
you guys, I don't know, what was it? Where was that at? Was that actually for sale right
It was
now?
Prada. It was Prada.
But what I'm saying is it's like in like Nordstrom or some shit like
It was in
that.
Nordstrom. It was in Leprechaun 1, Leprechaun 2.
Yeah, it was on their website.
Okay, so there's some Prada shoes that are
Don't call them shoes.
Them fucking Sleepy Hollows.
creations that are becoming like
It's high fashion. That's what it is.
avant-garde.
You gotta be high as hell to wear that fashion.
You stupid.
Yeah. What was that they sold for like 300? Like that
Paper clip?
A paper clip. Yeah.
Balenciaga has a scrunchie that's like $250.
And that's stupid.
A scrunchie.
Yeah. It just says Balenciaga.
Does it tie up your hair for you?
Five Below got scrunchies and they like $5.
Five Below.
Yeah, 250. But we wanted to go ahead and give our condolences out to the families of the Parkland massacre. That was ridiculous. Unfortunately, it's something that we're having to deal with again yet in our country. And I believe Dre D had actually seen something that kind of related to that didn't make very much sense.
Well, according to the coach, it made perfect sense. He defended it.
I mean, people defend this stuff to the day that they die. I saw one guy, he actually cut his assault rifle in half. He was saying that when the Sandy Hook massacre actually happened, that if it was able to save anybody else, he'd actually get rid of the gun. He's like, it's 5 years later, 400 more shootings, 200 people dead, and we're still here. So he cut his gun in half on Instagram, and he was like, this is one more gun that won't be able to do that.
But it can still fire, can't it?
No.
Like, where they cut it in half?
Like he cut it down.
Oh,
He probably cut the little receiver, which
I was going
is
to say, if
the most important
he
part.
had like a shotgun, I'm just going to saw this bitch off like that.
No.
No, you can tell you.
I don't really have a whole lot to add to that. Condolences, obviously, but
Yeah.
I have a lot of mixed emotions about this whole.
We'll have to have another show.
It's one of the most complex
conversations.
I'm pretty sure you don't have mixed emotions about this headline, though, Brian.
Oh, okay. Well, let's hear it.
Third graders in Missouri have sparked a firestorm by selling AR-15 raffle tickets in order to fund their baseball team.
Where at?
Missouri.
Oh, I thought you was gonna say Florida.
No,
it would make sense.
It's funny because Florida did have they had high school students who were doing it for the school, and actually the school shut it down. This coach, he supports it.
Well, I was about to say, didn't they shut that down?
No, not this one, because this is outside the school, so it's like like a baseball or football team that's funded at like independently.
Hey man, you gotta raise money.
Again, I have mixed feelings about that. While I understand how stupid that could be, but also it's like there's gun raffles happening all the time.
Yeah.
But for third graders, like how do you
not for third graders? Parents to buy it. It's a third grader. It's not like this AR is.
Well, I know the third graders are the ones that buy it, but they're the ones that are walking around with the raffle stuff for you to buy. Like if you pull up to a point, they're gonna have, hey, fund our baseball team. They're handing you a raffle ticket
so
that says AR-15 on it. This is what you buy for the
So
team.
we talk about that. That's crazy. But then the Girl Scouts were set up in front of the dispensaries in Colorado.
That makes
But
sense.
they selling cookies though.
You're in front of a weed store.
But it's what?
But you're in front of a weed store.
That's legal in that
But them
state.
people gonna want
It's
cookies
a
after.
weed store.
It's
but
legal in that
Can you
state.
take kids in the specs?
Well, I mean, you can't do the legal. You can't do the legal because the gun selling is legal too. But that doesn't.
The issue is the product that they're selling. It's not really where they're selling it. Okay,
Yeah.
it's in front of a dispensary. Yeah, but it's outside.
Yeah, it's still a dispensary.
But they're outside of it.
Oh my goodness.
They're
I can see
actually
that they were selling
these kids are actually.
I feel like I'm talking about LeBron James.
Hold on. A more appropriate analogy would be if they were trying to sell like raffle tickets for lingerie or something.
Yeah, that just ain't
That would be a comparable. Or if they were selling raffle tickets
you
for
can't
legal weed.
really say third graders selling raffle
I don't
tickets
have
for
a
an
problem. I don't have a
AR-15.
problem with it.
Hold on. So if they were selling raffle tickets for some products out of that dispensary,
I would have a problem
would
with
you?
that.
Okay, that's the same thing that they're doing with these guns.
So
They're
Bailey
selling
came
raffle
home.
tickets for the
Bailey
product.
came home with raffle tickets
For AR-15.
for an AR-15 to sell to people around the city. You
When
think
they like
that'd be
5 for
okay?
20?
Well,
Let me get 5, baby.
okay.
And I think that's the complex part about this is
Yeah.
that we have a tragedy that nobody wants to happen, no matter who they are.
Right.
You'd have to be like a psychopath, right?
Absolutely.
But then you also have people who they personalize it. They can only look at it from their own point of
Right.
like, hey, I'm not crazy.
Right.
I'm not going to hurt anybody.
Right.
Why do you want to stop the sale? So that's the complex part. And the problem is that really, I think no one wants to take guns away. I just think they just need to make it
You need deterrence.
tougher for certain people to buy it. If it's real hard to buy a car or all these other stuff, it shouldn't be that. It should be harder to buy.
And that's the thing. I'm not saying I have a problem with universal background checks. I think that's needed.
But that's what the congressmen have a problem with that.
They're doing additional. They're talking about things in addition to just universal background checks. Like, I feel like there should be harder background checks. I feel like they should raise the limit at which you could buy a rifle.
Yeah.
The
age limit. You said age limit, right?
Like, because you can't buy a pistol, but you can buy a
Long barrel gun
at
any age.
But then on the other side, you can go to war at 18. So it's like you can go to war.
You can't drink at 21.
Right, you can't buy a pistol,
Yeah.
but you can buy a long barrel rifle. And if you sign up for the Army, we'll give you one that's fully automatic.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about the Army, though, is that you're supposed to be under, like, supervision. You're supposed to be under trained supervision.
Have you seen Full Metal Jacket?
I understand what I'm saying. You're supposed to be under trained supervision. But when you're buying a gun out on the streets, there's no type of supervision or anything that's over. You're just buying a gun.
And I think a big thing that's not being talked about was this boy's mental state.
Yeah.
The people that he was living with, he had pulled guns on folks before.
And I feel
Like there is more than it ain't just.
It's
Get
very
rid of the
complex.
guns.
It's multi-layered.
Yeah, it ain't just
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when people say gun control, I think that's really where the breakdown is. 'Cause
Yep.
when gun lovers hear gun control, we're like, "What? You're trying to take our guns?"
Yeah.
But then when other people hear gun control, then gun lovers say, "No, we don't need gun control." other people take that as, so you don't want to do anything? No, we're not saying
it's
that. So
very,
it's like there's a middle ground.
There's a happy medium.
Gun control means different things to different people. And there's a medium.
You're not going to stop the massacres. You're not going to stop the killings, but you shouldn't be contributing to it. If I
it shouldn't be so.
You're not going to stop it, even if you banned it completely. You're still not going to stop. It'd be like drugs. Yeah. Like right now, like cocaine, heroin is illegal. If it was legal, you'd have a lot more overdoses and whatnot. But by making it illegal, you're kind of lessening it. But you can do it. You're doing a little bit. You're not contributing to it by making it legal. By
one thing they said is that just the amount of bullets a gun, like obviously, how many was 17?
Well,
the number would have been smaller if it was another gun
it was 17
or something.
People. I don't know what
more that was shot.
Yeah, that was shot. 15 injured. I don't know the size of the magazines.
Yeah,
I don't know if that even came out.
Because that really was brought up after Vegas.
Yeah, the high capacity
bump stock thing.
Well, bump stock should never be. I don't think bump stock should have ever been legal. What I do agree with is that no civilian should own a fully automatic weapon. And there are several ways that a civilian can buy.
But what you just said
to have fully automatic
is almost what they call it, a game, a deal breaker. What you just said for the people that are in power and like the enthusiasts. When you just said the automatic weapons, they would tense up right when you say that. Well, even though from a reasonable standpoint, it's reasonable, but to them. There's it doesn't matter what gun it is. Right. Don't break it into classes. Don't do any of that because they look at it as a slippery slope. If you ban one, and you're gonna ban another.
I've seen some people.
So that's the hard part about this.
That are gun owners, that are gun enthusiasts, that are not so hard line against bump stocks and fully automatic weapons.
Right.
I think the biggest thing is when they say all AR-15s are bad. And then the way that the media and certain politicians generalize AR-15s.
What the wrong people are talking about. You need to have people that know more about the weapons.
Exactly.
Speak out. But the problem is they don't want to get alienated themselves.
People make policies that know nothing about stuff.
Right.
That's
every day.
That's pretty much every issue in America.
Like us trying to make a book about brain surgery. Like it's not gonna go well. Like if we had to write a book about gaming or like a sports book or something, like we could do that.
Comics or something.
Comic. You know, this is the comic almanac we've created. But I can't write no book about guns.
Yeah.
I know how I feel.
And I feel like a lot of the people on CNN and stuff like that, they don't have guns at all, so they're not really knowledgeable
that we know
about the nuances.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. I wish if there were more common sense gun owners to come out and be like, look, I love my guns, but this specific thing right here.
Specific thing shouldn't happen. It's a simple question that they just need to answer. You don't want to stop guns from being in people's households. I just want to stop guns from being in the wrong people's hands.
And they always say it's not the gun, it's the person. But that's
it's still
it's kind of, to me, it's kind of hypocritical because I don't even want to focus on the president because he has no position that he really takes. He just says whatever people tell him to say. But the people around him that know what's going on, what they keep saying is we need to focus more on mental health. So you want to focus on mental health, but you don't want to keep
you can
crazy
start
people
there.
from buying guns.
I'm not going to say you can't start.
We've
gotten off topic. We've gotten way off topic.
Hey, that's
not the show tonight.
Oh, what is the show today?
Lord have mercy.
Something good.
I was
something good.
Tied into Black Panther though.
Okay.
How are you gonna tie gun control into Black Panther? You gonna put vibrations in the wall?
That's the same thing. You gonna get a weapons.
He was gonna
arm everybody with the weapons. But in the wrong person's hand, that's what they're worried about.
You put the right stuff in the wrong
person's hands, and you do more harm than good.
I think there's a lot of common sense, and then I'm gonna shut up. Obviously, this needs to be another show.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of common sense stuff that can be done. Number one, I think there's measures to make schools safer. Period. Like we spend a lot of money on dumb stuff, and military spending and all that. Why don't we make the walls in schools more stronger? Like. Yeah. Schools are going to get attacked. Unfortunately, in the climate that we live in the world we live in, we got an idiot making crazy thoughts. Schools are a vulnerable target, and we should be protecting the kids. So there should be measures to make the schools more fortified. Now, I'm not saying I don't agree with arming teachers. Like, I don't know about all that crazy stuff. But I think that they're. I'm not opposed to metal detectors. I'm not opposed to having more security around in the form of cops or however you want to do that.
And there's a lot of veterans out there that need jobs that they can.
That's where the corruption comes in, because you got these schools. I can't even afford books. How the hell am I gonna afford a bulletproof wall? That's true. And it's like you can't afford books. That's a problem up top. Yeah, it starts up top and it just trickles down.
That's another issue with our.
We just want the kids to be able to go to school without having to worry about.
And it's not even just school. I mean, movie theaters, churches.
Anywhere.
I mean,
everything getting shot up.
Concerts, you know.
But I will say this: if it was a black person, a Mexican person,
or a Muslim,
oh man.
You wouldn't have heard the words mental health.
It wouldn't have been mental health. It wouldn't have been getting rid of the guns.
ISIS.
Nope. It wouldn't have been none of that.
It would have been ISIS and all of
this crazy person, and we're going to demonize this class.
The whole group of people. Right.
But when it's a white guy that has some mental issues going to shoot,
he's a lone wolf.
It's the guns. He's a lone wolf.
He's a lone wolf.
They blame everybody except him.
I'm gonna be a professional school shooter. Why wasn't he in jail? You should immediately lock this man up.
Right. Yeah. Multiple times that people called,
and I could be wrong. Didn't he have ties to a white supremacist group?
He said
he did a lot of that stuff online.
He posted a lot of stuff online.
I heard he got the guns. White supremacists.
You got to remember, we're also in a country where a man can kill his pregnant wife and he gets out in 17 years.
Here you go. You talking about Ray Peru?
Yes. Yeah. That's the country. Prison has nothing to do with
justice system. That's a whole other conversation.
But I mean,
he just got a lot. He's just ridiculous.
It's just crazy all around.
No, he's never going to get that child. Man. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
You just mad.
Well, no, I'm talking about the 17 years.
No, I know, but you just mad. He
said his mom's not in his life, so he needs his father. But it's your fault that
she got. So wait a second. For people who don't know the backstory on that. Ray Caruth he played for
Panther.
I'm not laughing at this. I'm laughing at absurdity.
He apparently orchestrated the hit and murder of a woman carrying his child.
A drive-by, pretty much.
Yeah.
And
then he hid in the trunk for 2 days to get away from the cops.
And the child actually survived. The mother
and
died.
jars of urine.
I just remember Steve Harvey joking about it.
Yeah. He went on to be convicted and sentenced to
only 17
18 to 24 years. So
18
he gets
to 24
out
years.
Next year.
And he has the ability to get out next year. And you said what now?
He wrote his
his son's grandmother, which was his girlfriend or baby mom's mother. He wrote her saying like he wanted to get all the lies out the way because she's been saying that he never apologized and all this other stuff, and he's like, I have apologized.
It doesn't matter.
I know. He's like, I have apologized. I write this letter to prove to everyone that now that I have to say it publicly, I've apologized to her, and I would love to have custody of my son when I get out. Mark said, my son doesn't have his mother, so he needs his father.
and for those of you who don't know, his son was inside of his mother.
Yeah,
he was
they
a
had
baby.
to pull him out. Yeah, they had to pull him out.
He ended up getting. He was disabled because the baby was without oxygen.
For so long.
He was
So this is the crazy world we live in, where you could do that.
If doctors hadn't saved him, you wouldn't even have a son.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And he's went all this time without you anyway. So what makes you think that he needs to have?
You're not going to add any value to this man's life.
But
I killed your mama. I killed you. There's no value you can add.
Boy, you better go clean that room, or else what, Daddy? Well, you can't even say nothing. What you gonna do? I'll whoop your ass.
Well, I'm a killer, and you'd be like, he is a killer.
He is a killer.
But I mean, it just gets crazier. There is I think they're an Italian company, if I'm not mistaken. They put out just some different types of nail polishes, makeup, and things like that, and they decided to put out their latest nail polish. You see that?
Thick. What is it called?
Thick as a nigga. What?
Well, I don't see nigga anywhere.
It's because it's the stars. It's for the stars.
But no. That is what they place on the.
In the text. Okay, I was looking at the photo.
This is what country is
They
this?
can't put that in the headline. I know.
What country are you from?
This can't be a sassy Italian Wow. And it's not Negro, right?
No.
Or Negras.
That is what they put on this particular one. I'll show you what they actually had on their
It's
website.
the NIGGA. At least they didn't put ER, I guess. I don't know.
Because if it's NEGRAS,
and the other one shows it.
You know,
I made a loss for words.
Yeah,
that's not real, right?
Yeah, it's real.
Well,
so they put this on their website, and they were actually kind of shocked as to why.
Oh, they did it with the A.
Yeah, with the A. They were actually kind of shocked as to why people were saying this.
What is the 30 for?
Because they went back to change it later to put just the number, and
What? So the nail polish is just called 30 now?
Yes. If you go there now, it's just called 30.
30 thick as a nigga.
Yeah.
That don't even roll off the tongue.
Now their response was, "This is from a hip hop song."
Right.
Most of the things.
What song?
Most of the things that they had their stuff from actually had different titles from different songs, like Bootylicious and
there was zero black people in the marketing department.
I was like, seriously,
not one person.
I feel like they tried to sneak this in because ain't no song. I can't recall a song that actually has that. They tried to sneak that. What do they mean? What
do they mean by thick as a nigga?
No, not this one.
Was it a gay rap song?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what that means because, like, when I think about thick, you think about they talking about a female. So thick as a nigga.
They would have been better off by saying it was lost in translation.
I thought that's what that was saying, but that's not what
that's why I said
and as I think about it, I mean, if this wasn't a song, it wouldn't have been from a song that's made by black people. Okay, because black people are not gonna say, "Oh, thick as a nigga."
Why would they?
That would be somebody who's not black who would have said that.
No rap.
They tried.
Yeah,
but it's just
like
Is Khloe Kardashian involved in this? Why is she related on the page?
I don't know.
I just don't.
I don't know. She's related to everything in some shape, some way.
The only thing she's related to is.
But then, the stuff as we were saying the last time we were on the show, I mean, some of the stuff that's just coming out every single time somebody says something about being touched inappropriately, looked at somebody, and I saw this, I was like, why? I don't care.
Where has he been?
Apparently being assaulted by the Golden Globes president.
Encino Man.
So Brendan Fraser has now come out and said that the Golden Globes president assaulted him.
Oh, so he was the big
guy?
Oh, I thought he touched somebody else.
No, it's the dude from Money.
Who is the Golden Globes?
Not the one with Tom Cruise, but
Philip Beck.
Oh, so it was a dude.
Okay.
So that's the second time because Terry Crews it was some agent guy that grabbed his
reaches around, grabs my ass cheek, and one of his fingers touches me in the tape.
Ooh.
And he starts moving it
in his pants.
That's how you get punched in the nose.
Wait. That's a whole lot to happen without you snatching it.
Yeah. Like your reflex gotta be like.
Either your reflexes are trash.
Yeah.
Or you went along with it.
Or you were intoxicated or something. Because that's a lot.
Eventually, he was able to remove Burke's hand. I felt it. I felt like a little kid. I felt there was a ball in my throat. I thought I was going.
He wanted to put a ball in his throat.
That's what that guy wanted.
This seems very suspect.
Yeah.
Well, I
don't buy this at all.
Well, because I remember.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he was caught off guard and he didn't know how to react. Maybe he just froze up like, "Whoa, what the fuck is happening?" And then
stop it.
As soon as
I've never been in that situation, so I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know how that. I can't imagine myself in that.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna.
I made all that.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Will a finger end up in your ass by the time you realize it?
No, me personally, no.
He didn't say it was in his ass. He said
the tank in between the ball and the
tank.
That's not a short trip.
Yeah, you gotta navigate through some stuff to get to the tank.
If he left it and he grabbed my ass cheek, I would be like, okay. He stopped it there. Yeah. But he said, and eventually it went into his tank. A finger went into his tank.
Think about the range of motion. You had to get around. Then you had to squeeze the
cup of the cheek.
Yeah, you had to cup the cheek. Release the cheek.
Yeah. Then navigate around
to the tank.
Yeah. There's a ball sack under there that you gotta go around.
During all of that,
and then you went, whoa, I do not want to be touched this way.
I've had my wife. I'm in the kitchen trying to get something right. She come around and a finger get in my boxes. And I'm like, hey man, stop it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. In there, yeah, definitely. I don't know, was it in there though?
No, I think he was just grabbing it.
Or did he just walk up behind her like
outside of your hands?
Yeah, that's what he said.
But that's still a lot. That's still a lot of hand movements.
Yeah,
because once I feel anything on my butt, I'm like, oh, that's my butt. That's it. Like
that's going in his tape.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, cause I don't wear pants that tight, so you're not gonna be able to get to mine.
It doesn't matter if it was inside the pants or outside.
That's a lot.
Too much to happen without you liking it.
Yes.
Now,
exactly.
I'm just thinking, like, if somebody walks up and grabs your butt, it doesn't take long to do that part. Mm-hmm. Now, if they're going in your pants, that might take some time.
Nah, T. He cupped his butt.
Yeah, according to him.
By that
should have been.
It doesn't take long.
That's right there. That's it.
I can walk up and cup somebody's butt.
And you would immediately get slapped. They wouldn't have time to get their finger around.
And it's different because I was thinking about
if you cup it right there, your finger going automatically.
The Terry Crews situation.
He said this was 15 years ago.
I don't care.
Well, he's in his 40s, so he's old enough to know.
The dude walked up and went. That's not a short motion.
No, it's not. I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying.
No,
I understand how there would be enough time for it to happen. Now, why you did not punch him after it happened, that's another discussion.
And there's one little part that we actually forget. He said his left hand reached around, which means he was probably in front of him. This wasn't something that happened from the back.
Oh, so
yeah,
he
I'm
did
guessing like
this,
he went for
and
a
then
hug or something.
So it was like
that's what he said. He
was a hug?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So he hugged and then reached down, grabbed the cheek,
but
and
that's short reaction.
Because I'm not. Cause
no, that's short.
We're not finna hug chest to chest. Like
that's just quick. Like oh, you didn't grab my butt like that.
Yeah.
You cupped my butt. So it wasn't an accident.
And it ain't like it's a smack like you like in the basketball game or something. No, this is a cup. That means I'm gonna embrace the cheek.
That obviously he may have invited this action before, but he just didn't want it from this guy.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know, like to be in that situation. Well, it sounds like I'm victim.
Don't put yourself in that situation. Please don't.
No. I'm talking about him. Like to be in that situation, I don't want to sound like I'm victim blaming, but to be in that situation, you might have did something.
That's the hard thing about guys.
If
a guy has to go through that, it's hard to take it seriously.
Yeah, because we're not finna hug chest to chest. Like we might dab each other up. You're not finna have two free hands to where I can't control where the other one goes.
Oh Lord. Okay, I'm not going there with y'all.
I'm just an older white man, so two hands like this, that's not out of the question. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but if I don't feel that second hand on the back of my shoulder, I'm wondering where your hand.
Like,
once I feel hands on my butt, that's an instant reaction. Let alone he's moving and navigating through the crevices and stuff. That's
the piece. Like if he was moving and navigating, then I agree with you wholeheartedly. But I don't know if he was doing that. I don't know if
he cupped his butt. The thing say he cupped his butt, reached around. And finger ended up in his tank.
My question is, what did he want though? Because the guy,
can we get a reminder of where the tank is so that everybody understands where this was? The tank.
I'm just saying, if somebody walks in that,
tell them
one move. There you go.
Isn't that the little area between the balls and
the asshole?
That is exactly
exactly. You have the whole. The ball sack and that little area in between. Right. So he had to
navigate all around that.
I don't know if he was being that graphic with his description.
He said he felt a finger.
I mean, no, that's
what he said. He felt a finger.
That's Fraser's word. That he felt the finger, and one of his fingers touches me in the tank, and he starts moving it around.
Okay. Okay. That piece.
That's too far.
Now, if his finger reached it, I can see how that would be one fluid motion. Like if I walked up to a girl and just
ass cheek,
one motion, you can touch it.
Touches me in the tank, and he starts moving.
Yeah, moving it around. That lets me know that after he made contact,
there was extra
he
stuff.
left the hand there longer and kept it moving around.
Yes.
So in that case, I agree.
You're not supposed to victim blame, but in this situation, I have no shame. I have no shame blaming him for that.
Anyway.
He's not helpless here.
Are you victim blaming this person in the last story?
Every situation is different.
That happened to me.
Our Florida headline?
Yeah.
Are you victim blaming here?
Florida man arrested for reportedly tossing gator into Wendy's.
He threw a 3.5-foot alligator.
What did they do? What did they do that he had to go get a gator? And
who's the victim?
Into the drive-thru.
Like, who's the victim here?
Damn alligator.
Yeah.
So first of all, tackle the fact that you get ready to grab
they fucked his order up. He was like, "Yo, I wanted mustard on this damn hamburger. Let me go get this gator. I'll be right back."
He killed the gator. He killed the gator and threw a dead gator. It says.
Oh, that's just.
That's still a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
Either way you slice it,
You gotta find the gator first,
and that's a lot of money.
Then
too.
kill it.
When you
get you on
Huh?
It was alive when
It
you
says illegally killing, possessing, or capturing an alligator.
Or those are all the criminal charges. Either one.
How messed up was that order though? Like he had to come back. Like, yo,
you know what? I'm about to risk death just to prove to you.
Is the gator considered the deadly weapon? Am I confused?
Yeah, I guess.
It's 3.5 feet.
That's a nice size.
Yes.
He could have made some shoes out of that.
No, I need context.
Yeah.
What did they do?
That's one of those things where like
That's all they gave.
I just
Wait.
I don't think there's not a logical explanation of making you go get a gator and throw it through a
They
drive.
did something.
What did they do? Throw a possum at him first?
No, they did something.
What could they have possibly done?
Maybe he been going to the local Wendy's frequently, and they keep messing his order.
Right.
And it just pushed.
You know what it was? They was being stingy on that sauce. You know how you ask for sauce and they only give you one or two? And he was like, you know what? Let me go get the
Wendy's
gator.
in a while.
Maybe he asked for the buck double.
I'm with McCoy on this. Do you know what it would take for you to get ready?
You gotta get the gator though. You gotta catch the gator.
Stop the gator, catch a gator.
Yeah.
Then
Preparation involved.
Right.
It's a lot.
And then after all of that, just throw it away. Not make shoes, not sell it. Just throw it away.
Yeah.
They didn't just forget to put ketchup in the bag.
Right.
Why do I feel like this isn't his first time doing some shit like this? Like I don't feel like this is like the first time.
It's literally the most.
A gator and throw that bitch.
It's the most Florida. It's the most Florida story of all time.
First time at Wendy's.
That's the most Florida story. You got a gator involved. You got a unruly customer. That's very Florida right there.
Yes, it is.
I mean, that dude got to that fight in Subway because
why does it look like a young Eli Manning?
Which brings us to our topic of the night, so we'll have something to actually speak on. That is, Lord have mercy.
T'Challa, no challenge today.
The
Wakanda forever
has taken over the world. Apparently,
literally the world, all of the world.
What was the total?
They had 400 worldwide right now.
To reach 500 million
when I
this
was
weekend.
last, but that was like what?
Yeah. The report said they're expected to reach 500 million this weekend.
Yeah. And it's already the fifth largest.
We talking about
domestic.
just U.S. Because I think those are the U.S. numbers, right?
No, 500 is worldwide.
That was like a couple days ago, though.
Yeah.
And people are still right now they're pre-ordering for the weekend because they know that the second, like the word of mouth is so big that it's gonna be a lot of second viewers. So it's
like
just
me?
Yeah,
me
I'm
too.
See it again.
Yeah.
And no, this is when I knew the movie was big. My mama called me when I'm at lunch. She said, "Junior, me and Mark going to the
they
movies."
already hit it today.
What?
500 million.
Yeah,
My mama called me and lunch said, me and Mark going to the movies to see Black Panther. I was like, wait, just y'all two? Like, yeah. It's like on a date? Yeah, my two 60-plus-year-old parents just decided they was gonna go see. They don't care. They just decided on their own. Because usually, if they was gonna go to the movies, they'd probably ask me, what movies to see, whatever. They decided on their own that they was gonna see that movie without having to, ask me or whatever. And they were so excited talking about it. Like my dad talked about the movie like the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. Like he was so excited.
Because the Cowboys ain't winning no Super Bowl. No
I know. But it was just amazing that shows you how big this movie is when literally every age, every race, every background, all kinds, and they making an event out of it. It's not just let's go to the movies. People came dressed up. It's just like with Star Wars.
Yes.
Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. People always come dressed up as the characters. this time you see people in their African gear. You see the little our nephew, little TJ. He had his Black Panther suit. That's the coolest part of seeing the enthusiasm. And it's not just we're gonna see the movie. Let's all enjoy it together.
Yeah, that's only when white people talk. You only talk with white people.
What the heck? I can't stand you.
That's a reference from the movie, but
no, there was a video. Okay, there's a video that's going around on All Def Digital where
I never freeze.
One of the basically they're all comedians, but the comedian, I think his name is, I forgot his name, it's like Trevor something or whatnot. He's the only white person that actually works there, unfortunately, and he was like being the only white guy at work after everyone has seen Black Panther. And they just give him hell throughout the entire day.
It was like, don't talk to me, colonizer.
Don't touch me, colonizer.
Don't touch me, colonizer.
It is a hilarious skit. Go find it on All Def Digital. It's either on Instagram or YouTube as well, I think. But there's a lot of stuff that people were saying about the movie. Like one of the things that I did see that came up was the first part. They were saying that the first part wasn't paced very well. Do you guys think that was the problem? I didn't think
it wasn't very well.
I think some people go in wanting certain things. Like some people want more action. I feel like they focus more on the story than the action. The action didn't just happen just to happen. Like it was actually part of the story. Yeah. And I think a lot of times you have movies where they were like, well, we gotta have a fight scene right here, so let's just have a fight scene. I think they had the.
They were saying that it wasn't paced as well. I'm thinking that they're going off because the second act and the third act, what they're saying, kind of just sped up a little bit more. So I think they were just basically saying
it was a lot of setup. That's what it meant. Like it's just more.
That's the way all of the Marvel origin stories are. Yeah. Iron Man, Thor, even Captain America. The first ones are always like this. A setup.
I don't feel like this. I know it's the first Black Panther movie, and maybe it's because I read comics, so I'm different. I didn't view it as an origin story.
Yeah.
Because you already you met him in Civil War,
but you didn't know where he came from.
True.
Yeah.
Not you didn't see where he came from. They alluded to Wakanda in Civil War, but
and he was already the Black Panther. I think it's more of an origin of him being a king than just a hero.
I don't think anything was wrong with the pacing. I thought it was all done very good. I went to breakfast with a friend this morning. We were talking about the movie, and this is one of the movie that it's not like. And when that pacing comment, the only thing that I understand is it's not a typical superhero movie. Yeah, like. There were certain, I would say in the Marvel movies, it's probably number one, definitely top 3 with the Marvel movies that are out of all the Marvel movies that have been made. But it's more than just a superhero movie. Like,
it didn't follow that set formula that all the other movies go by.
Because it very well, pretty much like Iron Man.
It was similar,
but let's break down certain things.
I'm not talking about pace. I'm talking about the actual formula. Like, okay, this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen.
I felt like when you have a high concept, and this, I actually compared this movie to Avatar, because with Avatar, you had to literally explain the world that they were in. Yeah. You can't just throw that shit out without explaining it. Like, Wakanda is such a crazy concept. Not just for superheroes, for movies. A futuristic nation that nobody's known about all this time. The movie had to answer a bunch of questions that people were gonna ask, like where they've been, where they get this technology from, and I felt that's why they took their time to explain it, because we needed to know that. And I feel like me and you, we nerds, we know this stuff, but like my parents, they don't know everything. So I'm glad that they didn't say, let's just do what everybody else does. No, we're gonna tell the story. We're gonna introduce all the characters and make you care about them. So when shit actually happens, you're literally like, oh my god, like this is real. Like it's not just something they couldn't just throw Wakanda at us. It's such an awesome, fantastic way. And most fantasy stories, they have multiple movies. I felt like they did a good job for like an hour or whatever doing that.
I think what I enjoyed the most is that it was a movie where the main character didn't have to carry the movie. Like Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. had to carry
Right. If he wasn't that,
he
it
didn't have
was
a
just
counterpart that could carry his part, and he could carry his part.
Yeah.
Or even the scenery around. We didn't care about where Iron Man was from or what Iron Man
That's
did.
very true.
But in like Black Panther, like you had a villain who could carry his part, and you had a main guy who could carry his part, and even his like the people around him, like Shuri,
his sister, his
like
the general.
everybody carried their part very well. So you weren't like, oh, when is T'Challa gonna be?
Like, oh, I'm so tired. I don't care about this story.
We don't care about these people. Like you never had that. When you watch that, like with Iron Man, you're like, I don't care about Pepper. Like, no, please stop talking about.
When
Pepper.
is he gonna build the suit? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, like
when is the suit gonna be
in the
done?
other movies, like one of the problems that they've always had is villains.
Yeah.
When it came to Marvel, like they never had any villains like Joker or whatnot that could carry their own part. So Black Panther did a pretty good thing. Besides Loki, and even Loki was like
no.
It was
I was about to
finicky.
say, let's not talk about DC movies.
No, we're not talking about DC. We're talking Marvel. He says Marvel. He did say
You
Marvel.
said Joker though.
Yeah, you did say
Okay, yeah. But
that was a great villain.
That's a good comparison. All right, we can't do DC just for a second.
No.
Because you're right. You can't.
Name a good Marvel villain in the movies.
Well, just a
In the
good
movie,
villain. Period.
I think
Like,
so. If in my opinion, and it's only my opinion, and I might be slightly biased, I think. Well, I just say it like this: I think Killmonger was the best Marvel movie villain that we've seen.
Right.
I think Loki was good, but I also thought the Vulture in Homecoming was good as well.
I give you that.
And that's similar to Killmonger because you understand why
There's motivation.
most of the villains in Marvel, they're just evil just to be evil. Like the elves and with the blue dude from Guardians, they just were bad people and they never explained why they was bad.
and there's also no human element to them. A lot of times, like they're just like some mythical being that just has all these.
The Vulture, he got screwed over, right? He had his company. They put him out of business. Killmonger, he literally was abandoned. His father was murdered. Right. You know, so like you can understand that it's not necessarily evil. It's just, man, if one thing happened differently, they could have been another person.
Yeah.
I like that story.
Were those your only two though? Loki and Vulture?
I mean,
No, my point was DC movies have been terrible, and I don't want to include them.
I get
it. Not necessarily the movie. I agree. I've always had an issue with all superhero movies because the villain, like T said, is normally portrayed as I'm this really evil guy who's going to rule the world,
and I ain't got to explain.
Blow this up, and that's why
there's always a portal in the sky,
or that misplaced sense of if I blow it all up, I can start over, like that type of thing,
like Ultron.
But no, that's
Ultron was like that. Let me destroy everything.
All of the Marvel movies are really good, but they're usually carried by the main character.
Yeah,
you're gonna have a villain. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
and in this case, they were like, no, the hero would actually. This is the first movie. Because I guess we are spoiling anything, but this is the first movie where the hero. Spoilers. I mean, if you want to get deep, you really wouldn't be able to talk about it. But this is the first movie where the villain made the hero better.
Exactly.
Like the hero was already a hero; he was already a good person, but he had a flawed history and he had flawed influences, and he was able to accept change. That's rare. Usually, the hero. It just beats the guy up, and then we're like, oh, that's a cool fight scene, that's it. This hero actually was like, yo, we need to change. We need to make a difference. Right. And that actually has an effect on the rest of the universe.
And the
so that's a good thing that they did.
The funny thing is, like, even though he was a villain, you liked him, but they still gave you somebody to hate, to dislike, and that was, what's
Claw.
his name?
Right.
Well, no, not just Claw, the Get Out dude.
The friend.
They gave you somebody to, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah, it's like because they knew
nobody wanted Killmonger to die, but I wanted that oh man.
So they still gave you somebody that you could dislike.
I can't, and I get what you're saying, but I can't even say I wanted his friend to die. Like
he did some whole ass shit.
You just wanted mad.
Everybody, but it's still that was still.
I didn't want him to die.
We say that, but if you were in the same shoes where this person killed your family,
right?
And
then this guy shows up.
This guy was like, I'm gonna bring him to justice, and he was like, he's escaped me once again. And then you, in turn, dealt with the frustration of not only your friend, his father, failing to give you any sort of justice.
Right.
I can understand that,
and that's why the writing is good.
Was it a janky move?
Yeah,
absolutely. Because you should just never accept this outsider all of a sudden.
All of a sudden, yeah.
But
and I think that's just a fault of the movie.
Killmonger had a right to the throne.
Right. Yeah, it just not his motives, it's his action. Just like Killmonger, you don't question Killmonger's motives, you question his actions.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
I have a question that I could not understand to save my life. Why not bring him to Wakanda? I know their whole thing was we wanted to. His dad was like Killmonger.
When he
Where
was
does baby come from?
A kid.
Well, let me finish. I know this whole thing was, let's keep this secret. Let's, protect the nation and stuff. But how was this kid a threat to their nation?
Well, he was a threat to their story.
He
was a threat to their story because they couldn't have said, "Oh, well, if we just found him." No, that would basically give away that you killed him.
Yeah, and he was only half Wakandan as well. That was the other thing.
They didn't want to reveal the fact that they had killed his father.
Yeah. And also, what they revealed is that as awesome as Wakanda is, they're still human beings who are flawed. And how many governments and monarchies throughout history did some really foul shit, but they made sure that they had a story because you remember. The Black Panther, he's not just a king, he's not just a warrior. He's like, almost like the Pope. He's like a living embodiment of their religion. So you find out the king murders his brother. That's like, so
everybody ain't got to say murder him.
Well, I mean, when you
bring
the child back.
Yeah, you bring it back to the child.
The kid ain't have to say nothing at that point.
I just like that he was just.
That's the good part about the writing, because it's real tragedy. Like there's a real one event changed an entire life. That kid was just playing basketball, and all of a sudden he sees a spaceship in the sky, and his whole life has changed. And that's what I loved about it, because you could easily just be like, "Oh, he just killed him, and that's it." But like they gave him a full life and a full motive over all of this stuff. So I was just like, this is how you're supposed to write a character. He's not just there to get beat up by T'Challa. He's there to actually expose problems with themselves and make them change and make them evolve.
The question I would have asked, not why you didn't bring the child back to Wakanda, why did you just leave the dead body there?
That too.
Why
it was just a lot of
like if you're really trying to hide it, you wouldn't have kept it. You would have just left that body there.
They weren't perfect.
With Panther claws in his chest.
They weren't. That's the thing that you had to accept. These people you look up to them and they're so cool and awesome, but they still make them all humans, and humans do bad things, and they make mistakes.
Their isolation is also what made them so almost at some point. And kind of egomaniacal.
Oh my God, somebody gonna find out.
Because I couldn't understand. You have spies all over the world. What the fuck were you thinking was about to happen? It's like, seriously, you got this huge military operation. What is going on in your mind?
Naive.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like how complex it is. Like, and I love the whole situation of the real world parallels, because obviously when T'Challa says that real men build bridges, not barriers, or something like that, I was like, not walls. Like, what he's talking about. They were kind of like what people want now in America, which is like, you do understand that we're all actually better if we work together. And I thought that was good too, because before the movie came out, the trolls thought that the movie was going to be just I'm blackity black and black white people, because they hear Black Panther, they see it's a black cast. The movie actually, you come out of the movie very wow, black people, Africans of all around the world should support each other. It's like positive messages in the movie, and I like that. It wasn't, look, Guardians of the Galaxy is a lot of fun, but there wasn't no message in Guardians of the Galaxy. You got raccoons and trees running around.
It was pure entertainment.
And I feel like this movie wasn't just a superhero movie, but
I didn't even like Guardians. I'm not gonna say I didn't like it. It just wasn't as good as Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And I hear what you're saying. Not all Marvel movies have messages. I think that Black Panther had a message.
Winter Soldier did a good job.
And Civil War had a message.
Yeah.
But I think that's why they started building up to for Black Panther.
But I think Black Panther had the deepest message. And then if you are black, then there's deeper.
It's layers to it.
A lot deeper to it. You can't say that we should treat everybody good.
No.
That's true. We should all help each other.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. But then when you think about it culturally, even the conversation I had this morning, like, I somewhat feel out of touch after watching that movie because they had such deep roots. Like, even though it was closed off and it had all the technology in the world, they were still very grounded to their roots. With the way that they still had the tribal markings, is the way they still were traditional tribal attire, the tradition that they had. And even if you just think about T'Challa, once he ate the heart-shaped herb and he was able to access the astral plane, he not only saw his father, he saw his father's father,
his ancestors,
his father's father, his father's father's father. I can't tell you past my grandma.
Yeah.
Like my family. Like, so just the tradition and then the pride that they had, it was just something great to see. And I think about even my daughter, like, another point, all the leading roles were black people. There were very few white people, and not one of them.
Badass women.
Yeah, not one of them was a slave. Not one of them was.
Nobody was cooning it up.
Not one of them was a
drug
stereotype. Like, they all were strong. They all were powerful. Think about Black Panther's Nakia's role.
Yeah.
She used to date the prince who is now the king. And still is like, nah, I'm not trying to. I'm doing my own thing. I'm strong. I'm fierce.
We all thought that he was rescuing her. She got mad at him. Like, you messed up my mission.
Yeah, like, it's just that type of.
And Shuri. Oh my gosh.
That message actually plays a role into what they were afraid of, and like branching out to the other world, that they may lose part of that tradition. And that's why she was like, we've survived this long by doing what we're doing now. So they feel like when they branch out a little bit more, they may start to lose a bit of themselves.
And that's why Killmonger's character was so great, because I can't say that I disagree with Killmonger. I actually really, T'Challa can't say he disagreed with Killmonger. He just didn't like the method.
The method was
going along with.
He was 100% right to me. Honestly, I'm not even gonna say he was wrong. Not action wise. I'm talking about ideology. He was absolutely right. They let all this shit happen all these centuries with all this technology, and they didn't do anything about it. Then they ended up becoming hypocrites, with how they killed his father or whatever. So I looked at it like the whole time I'm like, T'Challa, you need to apologize, or the elders need to apologize.
The second time he went to the ancestral plane, that's what he told him.
Yeah.
You were wrong.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm not gonna die yet. You were wrong. And I felt that's why it was such a great movie, because when you look at the people that you like and you start questioning them, you go, man, why did they do that? Oh, that sucked. He was right. Now, obviously, it's a superhero movie, so you got to go a step further. And Killmonger, obviously, him arming black people around the world.
You can't just give them to anybody.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna.
As much as I love my people, there are some bad. We have
right. Yeah,
you can't just give it.
And it's not just arms. Like, they literally the most technological weapons.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing good that would have came out of it. But he was right in the fact that they should have been helping people around. And so, like,
and you can help other than just giving.
There's no purpose in harboring all that stuff for yourself.
Well, his thing was, I'm gonna rule it all.
Yeah,
and that's where I disagree.
Yeah, he was gonna create a new empire.
It wasn't just like, I want to help everybody. No, everybody gonna report to me.
Right, like, it got to be the way that I want it.
Yeah.
Also, I question his motives. I mean, it sounds great, the whole we should help each other thing, but would he have really felt that way if he wasn't trying to get revenge for his father?
Yeah,
that definitely was a major part of it.
Probably more of a driver than the noble cause that was behind him. I mean, we'll never know how much.
I didn't say he was noble. I'm just saying I understood his.
I thought he was right most of the time.
I think it was a noble cause.
Yeah,
noble intent.
Noble intent.
But part of it was revenge. I want to get revenge because y'all killed my dad. Y'all ruined my life.
Right.
and I want to get back at y'all.
And he wants he got a birthright. He's like, I got my birthright.
Seeing what he saw growing up in Oakland,
in the hood, yeah. And he's like, I could have been here in paradise because Wakanda was a paradise. Like it's literally like a living utopia.
And it's funny because essentially the two people that were really responsible, because the rest of Wakanda had no idea that they had killed his father. The two people that were necessarily responsible were actually dead. Well, one was dead, and he killed.
And he got the revenge on the other.
Killed the other one. So. He got his revenge, but he still wanted to rule, like Brian said.
Yeah, it wasn't just like, I'm going to help everybody.
Yeah, he's like, now you report to me.
And that was kind of justified because, let's say, he beat T'Challa, right? Well, he is a royal blood. So, that's why the writing is so good. Because I was trying to find so many plot holes, but a lot of times I was like, it was like one or two lines that would fix those plot holes. I was like, man, dude, like this... Like they put so much thought into it. Marvel is good. They're really good. Like their movies can transcend not just superhero movies. Winter Soldier, you could watch that movie and not even see the other Marvel movies just because it's written that well. Black Panther, my parents, I think they've seen the Avengers, whatever. They didn't know nothing. They didn't know about the dad dying in the Civil War. They just went to go see some pretty black people. And they had a good time. That's really what it is. Like the movie is a bunch of pretty good-looking, strong, awesome black people. I mean, I'm seeing. Like I love the women. They were like Shuri was my favorite. They were the point. But like I love how Michonne. Thank God, Michonne from Walking Dead. Thank God she's in something good again because. That show obviously is gone off, but
people are still watching that shit.
I feel like
I don't know why.
I feel like every movie now, everybody in this movie.
Get better.
You want to see where it's gonna end.
Yeah,
it needs to end now.
I know where it's gonna end. Let me explain.
Tell me how it all started.
Oh my goodness. We found the zombies that are coming after us. Wait a second, there's a shelter over here. Seemingly nice people. Let's go into this shelter. Oh my goodness, these people are maniacs. Oh, we all captured. This guy's a lunatic. Now we gotta find our way out.
You gotta lose a character.
Somebody dies. We're free.
Let's go somewhere else.
Oh my goodness, here's another seemingly safe building. Oh, these people seem to be grounded.
You forgot the part where you find some people who need help and you bring them in. And they turn out not to be good people.
Like, and this is all happening over 5 seasons.
This guy's a psycho.
Yeah.
Now we're captured again. Somebody else died.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, all right. Well, that's enough of Walking Dead.
I'm done.
But yeah, it's good to see her. Obviously, it's good to see Lupita not be a slave. She's a pretty girl. She's talented. She was in a cool role. Angela Bassett, the goddess, who she is, the queen.
Hey, auntie.
You know.
Hey, auntie. She was killing it with the dreads, man. I'm telling you.
Oh man, and that had to be a reference, like the white hair.
I was like,
oh, in another life, she would have been the perfect storm. Man.
Yes.
But yeah, like. But I like how
everybody's better than that.
There was a good interview where they said that like most of the Marvel movies or superhero movies, they have like just 1 or 2 women and they have to represent all women. In this case, you got nerds. Shuri's a nerd. Then you got the warrior, like the general. Then you got the queen, who's like maternal. You know, all these different kind of women, cool. And they were beautiful. They all had their own style, hairstyles, own wardrobes. The costumes were good.
The details that were put into the entire movie. I know some people, they were saying that they didn't necessarily like some of the visuals, like when they were in the astral plane.
Well, they were saying it was over CGI.
Well, yeah, and
too much CGI. But that stuff. Well, no, that
like
stuff.
The final
it really is kind of a nitpick, though.
Because it was too dark.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's just that. This concept is so big. It's just like Star Wars. Like when you're dealing with a completely imagined world. Like it's not like the Avengers where it's set in New York. You're in a world that doesn't exist, and it's literally like something that had to be drawn out.
I have to draw the entire.
So
picture.
I couldn't nitpick that much on CGI. Cause I'm like, they literally had to create this. It's not.
I mean, considering some of the stuff that we've seen in the past year with $300 movies with terrible CGI, I thought it was beautifully done.
The storytelling was so good, I didn't care. I was like, damn, these cousins are fighting each other. If they could have if their dads had just talked about something, if they just talked, they would have been best friends.
To the CGI artifacts
I didn't see. I didn't see it again.
It didn't affect me at all.
I don't even know what y'all talking about.
I was too invested in what was going on.
People said
you only know if you look at the critiques and people pointing out like certain pictures and stuff.
It's not as bad as like Superman's mustache because that shit was distracting. That was distracting.
I thought we weren't going to talk about DC.
Okay, my bad.
Another thing that I saw that I could not believe there was something that was actually happening. There were a lot of liberal, non-black people. I won't say because I won't say it was all white people. No, they were all saying I shouldn't go see this movie because I don't want to infringe.
Oh my
on
God,
the
you trying
happiness.
too hard.
I was like, dude, are you serious?
Do you realize that we need white people to go see this movie? We only
according to the stay woke people, if you haven't seen the meme, 98.7%, like Black Panther made $272 million. 98.7% of that was black people that went to go see it. I said, you are goddamn lying.
That's bullshit. We don't. It's not that many.
I think they said that we made up only like 40%.
It was 40, and then the whites were in like 35.
This is the same. This is the same thing that I view like the gun control. Like,
it's
too
extremes.
Too much on the right, too much on the left,
and
never enough in the middle. First of all, stop it.
It's a movie.
Everybody need to go see the movie. In fact, like Mark said, we need everybody to support the movie so we can get another one,
right?
And another one. So you're being ridiculous.
These movies they get funded by they look at the demographics and they look and say this is. They've been wanting to make these movies. They've been scared and they needed actual people to come out and see it.
What D said, you stay woke. The people that always stay woke. Like you're being ridiculous.
You really trying to
we can generate $270 million for this, but we can't do this for a black owned.
That's the thing I hate because it's like
I was like, stop.
Do you know how many black people were involved in this movie though? Like they don't know that the executive producer.
That doesn't matter. Or the fact that the people were. The fact that the movie majority of it was shot in Atlanta and not in Africa.
Well,
like it's just
Wakanda doesn't exist.
Actually,
to the stay woke people, it didn't matter how many black people involved. You know why? Because Disney did it. That's what they were saying.
Right.
One of the top execs
people
for Marvel
is a black man.
Is black.
They don't know that. Like I saw that he did an interview. The executive producer of this movie, his name is Nate Moore. He's the one who fought the other guys with Disney. Was like, yo, we have to do this movie, and he the one that went and got Ryan Coogler, a black man, to direct it. He the one that got the writers who are black to direct to write the movie. So it's like all these black people got jobs. They got jobs. The costume person is a black woman. The assistant, like the photographers and all them people, all black. It's so many black people that got paid off of this movie, and now they got that on their resume that they work on it. So now they can do their own. Ryan Coogler gonna be able to do any movie he wants.
As shit. And
there was a lot of black. All those extras.
Marvel movies are always like that.
All them like how you gonna you woke, but you complaining about all those people.
That's just the stuff that we got to see.
Yeah, think about the black people that are now gonna work for those black people who are going to get more profit. Like it's a change.
Ryan Coogler.
Even if it is, it's just you have those black people who are able to give other people. It doesn't actually have to be.
It really is a domino effect, a positive domino effect.
It's giving more opportunities to everyone. I wish people would stop just. It's a movie.
And then think about the reason that people go and the reason the movie made so much money is because they're giving you a good value for what you're
paying. Exactly.
It's not like
we just decided, we're just gonna go out and support this movie. No, it's a good movie.
Right. We're
paying
like Obama
to see it because it's worth the $10.
Yeah, it's just like Obama. You just voted for him because he's black. You do know that he was really qualified, charismatic. All of that stuff had to happen too.
If you sell me a good product, I will buy your product for $10.
I did vote for him because he's black.
Yeah, but if it was Ben Carson who ran for president, you wouldn't have voted for him.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
Ben Carson's an idiot.
Exactly. So it wasn't just like
Ben Carson looks at Ben Carson, he doesn't see a black man.
Hey, would you go see another Steel movie with Shaq?
Actually,
no,
because it was so bad. Those movies exist. Yes.
I kind of agree with him. It's kind of on the same level as The Room. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Meteor Man. I was going to say, don't you dare.
No, I was
That was so bad.
It was good. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, you got me there.
Yes. Blake
Man was hilarious. I don't know.
That was supposed to be bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's another thing that people kept saying that I could not understand why they were not getting. Marvel's first black superhero. People kept saying, "Yeah, this is Marvel's first black superhero movie." This is what they kept. That's what they kept saying. What they're not understanding.
You want to know why?
Marvel's first black
it's
superhero.
It's easy for them to do that.
Inaugural, not first black superhero movie.
Right.
Blade was the first black superhero movie for Marvel, but people could not get there. Like, that's not it. I'm like, listen to what they're saying.
Yeah. And it's more layers than that, because let's be real. We were all old enough to remember when Blade came out. Mm-hmm. The Marvel movies,
going to the movie theater.
Right,
Marvel movies weren't.
That was 20 years ago, 98, right? Yeah. 20 years ago. Most of the Marvel fans now, they weren't old enough to remember when Blade came out. Number two, it was an R-rated movie.
Yeah.
Black Panther is PG-13, so more people can go see it. Second, Blade was the only brother in the movie, and you literally could have replaced him with Keanu Reeves, and it would have been almost the same story. Yeah. Obviously, the words and the way his delivery would have been different.
Right.
Black Panther, his race revolved around. I mean, the movie revolved around him being an African king. Yeah. So when they say it's just a whole other level, man, like it's you can't compare the two.
Also, America's association with Africa is
my God, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Disease-ridden.
War-torn,
living in
warlords, blood diamonds.
Yeah, this was beautiful. This was beautiful, rich,
without
smart
colonizers.
It was both.
Yeah,
we got
any white people.
Yeah, and the white people in there, I thought they were good.
They were good. Yeah,
they were good.
And it wasn't like they were like, oh, they just threw them in there. Like, they actually had played a role.
It's funny you brought that up, like how they see Africa, because like a movie that I loved as a kid, which was Ace Ventura with Nature Calls.
Yeah, we watched
that movie now. He was like, this shit is racist.
We were watching it at work.
The stuff that they're doing, I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah, like we were watching at work, and there's a scene where they are, there's the trials when he was going through, and the guy is literally pulling a heart out of the body, and he's just like, and I'm like, yo, this is racist as fuck, yo. Like, I was laughing because I remember as a kid watching it, I was like, yo, this is the most racist. Like, Chicago.
1 and 2 are amazing films.
Yeah, but they were, oh my God.
That is how America.
It's the complete, like that part of Africa was the complete opposite of Wakanda. Yeah, like the most, every stereotype. And so I was like, this movie, what it does is they address the dark stuff. It started off with those, them guys that were like having them women kidnapped, which is a real problem over there. Mm-hmm. But they gave you fantasy where Black Panther kicked all their asses, and that's it's good for the Africans to have that fantasy of somebody that's over there saving those girls from being, abducted or whatever. So they get to have a fantasy that, what I'm saying, Americans, we got plenty of characters that we can use. They don't have that over there. So it was bigger than just African, because they kept saying African Americans. I'm like, you understand, there's black people in the Caribbean, there's black people South America. They all can connect this movie because, like, Killmonger's story is the story of the one who was, like, I guess you could say left behind, like, while they were over there. So the movie does on so many different levels. I always want to bring up Blade because I feel like without Blade, you probably wouldn't have the other Marvel movies because they weren't taking it that seriously. Sure. But Blade was a good vampire action film. Black Panther's a superhero, and he's standing next to Iron Man and Captain America. To me, that's bigger than what Blade did. Yeah. Because that kind of validates, like, he's not just some token. He's not just there to be the black guy. I mean, the new Avengers trailer, they literally are in Wakanda in the Avengers trailer. That means that he's not just about to be there just to be there. He's a big part. So that's why people were excited. And plus, the actors in the movie, they didn't just get random black folks. They got people, they got like,
they got the entire Black Hollywood, right? Will Smith,
right? And who shouted out the movie? By the way, he made a video congratulating. He called everybody by name. He did the Wakanda salute because he knew once again, we was talking about the domino effect. He knows that he don't have to be the only nigga that doing $200 million movies anymore.
Well, yeah,
because for a while they were like, you got to be Denzel or Will to get a movie like that. Now, you know, it's gonna be more. It's opened up now.
Yeah,
you're right.
I'm sure he, if he wasn't part of that suicide crap, there would have been a part for him in that movie.
And I feel like you're right. He probably is looking at his contract.
I mean, he was suicide crap.
He probably looking at his contract like, man.
And Will Smith was one of my favorite actors, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And again, now that is my favorite thing to do is on Instagram when I'm not doing any work is go check his account. Yes, that is my favorite thing to do. Now he cracks me the hell up.
But he always been like that though.
But
it's the best idea ever. It's the best idea ever to put him on Instagram.
Access to him now. When he goes to scare Scotty, I'm cracking the hell out.
But like I feel like this movie, it wasn't just why they making such a big deal. We've had Blade, like dude, Blade was great.
This was just different. This was entirely different.
Blade didn't have as much of a cultural impact as Black Panther.
Right.
Does.
I can't relate to a half. He's a half.
And look,
other than he is black.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes is a black ass dude. That's literally the only thing black about the movie.
Yeah.
This movie was about Africa. This movie was about identity, African American identity. All of that stuff came with
how we are represented, and we're more than just
the typical.
Yeah, typical. Like it's so much more.
And now in the future, that whole stigma, or we can't do this movie because it might not sell overseas. That's done now.
Yeah, Chadwick and Michael B. Jordan and Lupita Nyong'o, they were all saying that when they went over to South Korea to promote the film, they felt like rock stars. They felt like the Beatles. They were just mobbing them and stuff. They were to the point where they couldn't do a lot of the things that they wanted to do because people were just all over them, which is something that they didn't think. Everyone kept saying they were not going to do.
Always embrace African Americans, like black people in general.
Well, according to them, this is one of the things that they would say that about people who were rappers or basketball players. They weren't saying that about movie stars. Yeah. So they felt like it was something a little different. But the movie it was such a big deal mainly because it took you didn't see this. Truthfully, honestly, as a superhero movie, it was a movie. It was a
film with a superhero in it
that just happens to be about a superhero. Mm-hmm. So it was good all the way around, and it had an awesome message, empowering, and it first Disney princess that was actually out there kicking ass. That's what everybody keeps saying now. Zuri's a
because they said that most princesses, they just pretty girls who want to get the guy. Yeah. She probably could get any guy she wanted, but she don't care because she's smarter than everybody. Yeah. And she's a smart ass, which I cannot wait till she meets Stark. Because I know she's going to be like, Stark going to be like, well, I built this at so-and-so. She's like, oh, well, I built that when I was 5. I can just see her being a smart ass. And he probably might bond with her because they both are geniuses who are just smart asses at the same time,
I think that'll be good. That'll be very interesting. I also want to see if they actually take up the storyline when she dons the suit. But I don't know if that's possible.
I think it's too early. She's so young right
now. But they burned all the herbs.
That's going to be addressed in a sequel.
I don't think that's in the plan.
They're going to find some random patch of land that they didn't know about it. They're going to be like, we have found the earth. Because, they said it was in the soil.
Did you want to bring up some of those questions that you were reading about about Wakanda? Remember you were reading some stuff, questions that people had, about vibranium and stuff?
Yeah, a lot of people were saying they don't really understand vibranium is just kind of like OP. It's a catch-all.
That's a Marvel thing, though.
Yeah, you heard that it was just like a strong metal, but in Wakanda, they use it for all kind of.
It's the most versatile mineral. Yeah. So you can use it as a power source. You can use it. Obviously, they wore it in their clothes. Mm-hmm. It helps that. Shuri got it to store kinetic energy. We already know that it can be used to repel stuff because that's what Cap uses.
It doesn't necessarily repel. It absorbs.
Right.
So that's why bullets just fall off.
Right. They don't bounce off. They just fall.
It robs things of its momentum. So that's why bullets just fall off of T'Challa versus bouncing.
And that's why it's used as a power source because
but like you were saying, most of these people, they don't necessarily know about
most people don't know that there's like 6 kinds of adamantium.
Yeah.
True.
Well, I think because most people
adamantium,
they heard about vibranium from like the previous
Captain America. Yeah.
So you're like, I thought it was just a metal.
Yeah.
And the other thing was, how could they be so self-contained without actually sharing this stuff to the world?
That's the point of the movie.
Yeah, that's the movie. Yeah.
So
that I knew people were gonna bring that up because actually the alt-right were trying to like,
they were like,
y'all like Black Panther, but they're an isolationist country that don't want to share their stuff, and then they backfired on them because that's literally what the movie brought up.
People would take it.
Right? Yeah, like it wasn't like they literally was like, have you seen Ethiopia? Have you seen Congo? All these places that had natural resources, and the white people came in and took it. So they knew that shit was gonna happen to them. Obviously, they went too far and they didn't share anything. But but I understand the thing with the whole OP thing. I think it's just the fact that this is so different. If this was Asgard, nobody would be saying anything.
I mean,
well, again, it's godlike stuff.
Funny.
Yeah, and it's so different. An African nation with this technology, nobody was gonna ask questions about the Asgardians, even though they got all this technology. You know what I'm saying? So
it's funny that
you used to seeing white people.
Like,
and
if
stuff
you take
like
it even from a personal standpoint, if you came across yourself like some big ass gold mine of shit, you're not going to be willing to be like, hey, I found this. This shit is like worth billions of dollars. Everybody comes. You're not going to be like that. You're going to try to keep it for yourself for as long as you can until you're like, I don't know what to do with this anymore. Maybe I should share it with people.
Yeah. It was a great movie. It was a really good film, and I want everyone to continue to support it, go out and see it, buy the toys, all that, and everything.
Yeah. That's another big thing. You gotta. For y'all listening, y'all gotta support the merchandise because that's how they pay for a lot of this stuff. Like they make the toys and they look at that and they say, okay, well this is, y'all not buying that? Okay, we're not gonna do it no more.
Yeah.
So like it's not just going to see the movie. You gotta support get the toys, get the clothing, because they gonna look at all of that shit and they gonna realize, black people, they money is worth the same as everybody else. You know.
It's funny too. There was a lot of people who were, of course, a lot of comments that are going around, hashtag Black Panther, what Black Panther means to me, all kinds of stuff. And the torrent people and the bootleg folks would put the little links, you can see Black Panther free here, and would get freaking trolled.
And that's what I like, because
that was hilarious. They got attacked kind of like people attack, when they go after Beyonce.
Right.
Her
the Beehive.
That was
the Panther Hive.
It was
the Panther Pride.
Little Panthers and stuff, everything.
Speaking about the Beehive.
Oh, Lord. We ain't got time for this.
Wendy Williams, you heard what she said about it?
No, I don't pay attention to that woman.
Alright, so she's talking about Fergie. She's talking about Fergie singing the national anthem.
I'm so
national
sorry,
anthem. And she's like, some people just need auto-tune. She was like, Fergie needs auto-tune.
Stop it. She did not say what I think you're going to say.
Jennifer Lopez needs auto-tune. Somebody needs auto-tune. Beyonce needs auto-tune. She named all those names. Proud didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
Soon as she said Beyonce,
they turned on it quick.
What is this she talking about? And then she tried to cover up Adele, Aretha.
Wait, what?
Aretha, Mariah Carey. They don't need.
Oh, okay. I thought she was about to say it. I was really about to be like, this woman didn't say.
Beyonce needs auto-tune. So then the caption was like, the Beehive finna tear her up. Charlamagne the God on the next day on Breakfast Club was like, I don't know what's wrong with Wendy Williams. Maybe she ain't never seen Beyonce sing. But the Beehive, like that day the Beehive released videos of Beyonce just in her
just by herself singing.
Just crazy notes perfectly. And then I saw today Wendy Williams finally announced that she has some type of disease.
Graves' disease.
Yeah, and she's going to take time off. Finally.
It was
like
conveniently.
Well, remember,
she's been tripping out for a while.
Okay.
She
What is Graves' disease? Does anybody know this? I don't know.
It's an autoimmune disease that attacks the thyroid, and it's actually what's making her eye. I don't know if y'all have noticed that her eyes start popping out.
Is that what made her pass out?
It's what.
She's passing out.
Yeah, it's what. If I'm not mistaken, it was. She used to run track and field. She used to have super long nails. I can't remember her name.
Oh,
Flojo.
Not Gail Devers. Yes, Gail Devers had it.
I don't know why I said FloJo. That's years ago.
Oh, I thought for a second you were saying Wendy Williams used to run track.
No.
I was like, wait,
what? She was a linebacker.
That's why I made that face. I was like, wait a minute.
Men's track.
Stop.
She wasn't
nose tackle.
You're assuming her gender. Stop.
Jawada fan.
Anyways, but
she would have been a good Dora Milaje, man. Give her a spear and shit.
Play with you,
man.
She worked with muscles. Have you seen when?
Yeah. Her body is
her
like
butt is saggy.
She's built like a question.
I'm not gonna let y'all. No, we're not gonna do this. No.
No.
Get well soon, Wendy.
Anyways, I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. Please go on to the SayWhatRadio.com website and check out the store, buy some merch, grab some shirts. I put some new designs out, so go ahead and buy them all up. And as always, follow us on I always want to say Insta
Snap.
Insta Snap.
I just saw that. Well,
Instagram.
no, follow us on social media. Instagram. Well, I am on Snapchat, but according to what I just saw, Snapchat just lost $1.5 billion.
Well, because they dumbass update.
No, because Kylie Jenner says she doesn't use it anymore.
No, because of the dumbass update, right?
That
The
too,
fact that
probably.
Kylie Jenner.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of people that have stopped
She's
using
the voice of the generation.
Bunch of talentless
Oh no! Calm down. Anyways, follow us on social media: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Wait a minute, did you say $1 billion?
$1.5 billion.
1.5 billion people stopped using it because Kylie Jenner stopped using it.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in.
How many people got cell phones? Good God.
I don't know. That can't be.
I mean, I know a couple people
This is America, but I'm like, when you get into the billions,
Ain't there only like
people in the world and everybody has a cell phone?
So yeah.
One of my guilty pleasures is
you gotta think about like the third world countries.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Most of the population is.
You know what? Thank you for tuning in. Catch you next time. Same bad time. Same bad channel.
I'm dying this fucking fucked up town. Shit flying in my mouth. Let's get the fuck out this country, mother. The fuck is that?
Say what again?